Denny Hamlin's longtime partner FedEx appears to be on the way out. Chase Briscoe has a new pit crew this weekend at Kansas, and Justin Marks explains why Ty Norris left Trackhouse. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. Before we get into it, yesterday, Brennan Poole and I uploaded a new episode of Power Hour. Ryan Truex was our special guest. We covered a lot of interesting ground, I think. It's available wherever you get your podcasts. It's also here on YouTube. I'll put a little link to it up in the corner. It's also on my channel. But now let's get into the latest breaking news. This morning, Stewart-Haas Racing announced Chase Briscoe will have a new pit crew beginning this weekend at Kansas. Effectively, the team is swapping the number 14 and number 4 pit crews, so Briscoe will now have Josh Berry's team. Chase Briscoe, of course, qualified for the round of 12, is still very much alive in the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. On one hand, I hate this move. Chase Briscoe, Richard Boswell have worked with this team all year long through the ups and downs. They won at Darlington together to qualify for the playoffs. They made it through the round of 16 together. To suddenly replace a huge part of the team this late in the year, I hate it. These guys have stuck it out together. I want to see them finish the year together, finish what they started. But at the same time, NASCAR is a team sport, but the larger team often comes first. And Stewart-Haas Racing has every right to give themselves the best shot of advancing to the round of 8 or maybe even the championship 4. And Josh Berry's pit crew has been better than Chase Briscoe's pit crew, at least according to the metrics I could find. And Bristol this past Saturday night, we saw the final pit stop cycle. There was an issue on the right front, and Briscoe fell out of the top 5, out of the top 10 even, almost cost him a playoff spot. Is it fair to put that mistake on the team? Was it a weird fluky deal with the wheel nut? I don't know, but point is, I'm sure that issue is what prompted Stewart-Haas to make this move. I don't like it. I want to see the team that's been through it all year stick together, but at the same time, I think the number 4 pit crew likely gives Chase Briscoe a better shot of advancing through this round. So it is what it is. Tough decisions sometimes need to be made. Chase Briscoe fans, let me know how you feel down in the comment section below. Next, the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs are about to begin. Riley Herbst is the 8 seed, but he was asked this week about his 2025 plans, and Herbst had this to say, quote, "Not confident by any means. Distraction-wise, I think it weighs on all of us a little bit. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. Hopefully, things kind of sort themselves out here in the meantime, but I can't worry about that now. I have to worry about the 98 team and try to get the best results we can this weekend at Kansas to put ourselves even higher above the cut line. I'm not too confident in what's going to happen next year." Not too confident, not confident by any means. Riley Herbst has been linked to a third car at 2311 Racing for probably a couple months now. But it seems the Herbst to 2311 deal is paused because much of 2311 is paused right now. Sure, they recently extended Bubba Wallace, okay, but they provided very few additional details. No team faces more questions than 2311 right now. Are they still buying one of the Stewart-Haas Racing charters? Are they going to sign NASCAR's charter agreement? Are they going to race next year without charters? Are they going to pursue legal action against NASCAR? Until at least one of those questions gets answered, there won't be any movement on Riley Herbst. Riley Herbst is a solid driver, sure. I don't think he's as good as some of the drivers Toyota has in their pipeline currently. Like, I'd probably take both Corey Heim and Chandler Smith ahead of him. Shoot, I might even take Sheldon Creed the way he's been running lately. But Riley Herbst is good. He's got a couple of wins in the past year or so. But more importantly, he's got funding. His family owns convenience stores out west. They have that relationship with Monster Energy. Monster Energy is already part of the Toyota 2311 family. It costs a lot of money to open a third full-time car to race competitively in the NASCAR Cup Series. Riley Herbst brings the money, so I get it. I don't think he's the most qualified candidate for that job. I don't think he's terrible either. No pun intended. If nothing else, he does have decent experience. I mean, how old is Riley Herbst now? 25, right? He'll turn 26 at the start of next year. Yeah, so if nothing else, he's got some miles on him. He isn't some inexperienced rookie trying to feel it out. He understands the grind. He does have some one-off Cup Series experience. There are worse options out there, but purely from a performance standpoint, he wouldn't be my first pick. We'll see if 2311 and Riley Herbst are eventually able to get moving on a deal for next season. Everything seems paused at the moment. Speaking of 2311, let's talk about Denny Hamlin. Not owner Denny Hamlin so much, let's talk about the driver. Adam Stern, Sports Business Journal, writes that FedEx is expected to continue to scale back their sponsorship of the 11 team, potentially bowing out of the sport completely. Stern writes that FedEx once upon a time spent $25 million annually to sponsor Denny Hamlin for the full season, but now, this year, they've sponsored only about a third of his races. I'll link the full article down below, but Stern also notes that this is part of a broader effort by FedEx to cut costs. Last year, FedEx pledged to cut costs across the board by $4 billion, and recently they ended their stadium naming rights agreement with the Washington Commanders NFL team. If FedEx drops out of NASCAR completely, it's sad. It will be the end of yet another iconic driver sponsor duo. On our live stream last night, thank you to those who tuned in, we discussed how other sponsors seemingly have left when their competition leaves, like Home Depot and Lowe's, both hardware stores, left the sport roughly around the same time. UPS left the sport like a decade ago. I know they were briefly back for Throwback Weekend, but FedEx has been the only major shipping company in this space for quite some time. I guess my point is, back in the day, if your competition was in NASCAR, you felt obligated to be in NASCAR. I think I've shared this before, but a family friend of mine was once like a big marketing person at, I think, Cheerios. I think it was General Mills owned Cheerios. Probably still do own Cheerios. And I remember her telling me that, 20 years ago, they would have meetings where they were like, we need to be in NASCAR because Kellogg's is here. We need to be where our rivals are. We need to fight them in their space. I'm not sure how widespread that philosophy was. I think I took one marketing class in college, did not get a great grade, but we have seen that pattern in NASCAR before. So I guess my point is, FedEx is a unique case. They are looking to cut costs across the board. Their competition has left NASCAR. They've won the war here, so to speak. But at the same time, we shouldn't ignore the larger industry concerns. NASCAR and its teams have struggled to hold on to major brands over the past decade plus. Gone are the days of one or two recognizable sponsors teaming with a driver for the full season. Now the schedule is so fragmented. The new TV deal includes less races on network television, which may be making it more difficult for teams to sell. It's all a constant struggle. All I can think of is, as it pertains to Joe Gibbs Racing in particular, thank goodness Bass Pro Shops is sticking with the 19 team. They'll join Chase Briscoe next season, because imagine if they lose M&M's, Bass Pro, and FedEx within like a 3-year span. Gibbs may be dodging a bullet there. We'll see. It's not for sure that FedEx is gone after this year, but it seems all but certain they will continue to scale back their involvement with Denny Hamlin, Joe Gibbs Racing, and NASCAR, which is disappointing because those purple cars have become iconic over the years. Say what you will about Denny Hamlin, that's just fact. The purple FedEx 11, Denny Hamlin delivering on the track, has been iconic, really ever since I started watching the sport in the early 2000s. One final topic I'd like to discuss. Last week, news broke out of nowhere that Ty Norris, Trackhouse team president, was leaving the team for Kaulig. Recently, Ty Norris was officially introduced as Kaulig Racing's new chief business officer, and Trackhouse owner Justin Marks appeared on SiriusXM NASCAR radio to discuss the sudden change.
Ty and I are great. Like we've spoken every day since Monday of last week when he called me and said he was going to do another opportunity, and he got another great opportunity, and we talked through it and, got to a really, really good place with it. And we're still working together. Obviously, Trackhouse is a great partnership with Kaulig. So we're still very, very connected. And I think that, he saw an opportunity to go to a team like Kaulig and really sort of help them take the next step, very much like he did in the creation of Trackhouse. This is a guy that one of the best, if not the best, in our sports history at building race teams.
I still believe this is a notable loss for Trackhouse, especially with how sudden it seems the decision was made. Marks talks about Ty Norris building teams. I get that Trackhouse is basically built and established at this point, but they are still expanding. They're adding a third full-time Cup car next year for Shane Van Gisbergen. I don't think they've realized their full potential yet, so The loss of Ty Norris will be felt, I believe. But that being said, I believe this is a bigger get for Kaulig than it is a loss for Trackhouse, if that makes sense. Kaulig needs something. They need a spark. Credit to Matt Kaulig and Chris Rice for what they've built there. They have done some incredible things, but now their Cup Series program is floundering. Actually, it's not even floundering. It is objectively on the decline. Last year, Kaulig's 2 cars were 21st and 25th in owners' points at the end of the year. This year, they're 30th and 34th. They've both lost like 9 positions each. That's bad. That's a sudden drop-off. This is the kind of team that could most benefit from a Ty Norris. His experience, his relationships. Kaulig has the bones of a solid NASCAR program, but with Ty Norris, I think he could optimize some things, bring in some support to really get the most out of this team. At the very least, get this team back to being a respectable 20th to 25th place team, maybe nab a win somewhere. Based on recent moves Kaulig has made, it's clear they are very dependent on outside sponsorship. Bringing Daniel Hemrick over to drive the 31, he brings some reliable sponsor support. Bumping AJ Allmendinger back down to the Xfinity Series despite him winning a Cup race last year, that was a budget decision. Ty Dillon, rumored to be joining the team next year, that's a sponsorship-driven decision. They need drivers who bring money because without them, the dollars and cents don't add up. Perhaps Ty Norris can help make the money add up. Trackhouse went from nothing to second in points in less than 2 years, and they've added major corporate sponsorship like Busch Light, Coca-Cola, WeatherTech, Wendy's during his tenure. In my opinion, Ty Norris can only do good things for a floundering Kaulig Racing. I think Trackhouse will feel that loss at least a little bit, but this is a much bigger get for Kaulig Racing. I hope they do well. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. If you're a Trackhouse fan, are you concerned losing Ty Norris? Share your thoughts down in the comment section below. That's going to do it for this episode, y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more NASCAR content, commentary, race recaps, and more every single day. And a big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. Hope to see you all at Kansas Speedway this weekend. I don't currently have like a dedicated meetup or appearance scheduled, but if you see me around the track, feel free to come say hi. Looking forward to it. One of my new favorite tracks on the calendar. Should be a good time. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday, folks. I will catch you again real soon.